Certainly when you look back at, hey, I was 21 years old and working there, now I realize how male-dominated it was.
And it was an old boys club covering the 49ers then. I'm still friends with a lot of those men now, but it was a little tough to break into. But again, I don't intimidate easily. I knew what I was doing, and I didn't really care. I think they understand that I wasn't in it just as a lark. I wasn't in it to get dates. I wasn't in it to prove something other than I really wanted to cover sports. And so it took a while, though, till I got that kind of respect, I think.
There would be separate rules for women. So an important part of our job as sports writers is being in the locker room. And that was off limits for women for a long time. Leslie Vissers and Christine Brendan, some of the early women in this field, were playing by different rules than the men were. And it's not like the locker room is a great place to be. I don't love going to locker rooms. They smell bad. There's towels flying around. There's guys in various stages of undress. But the fact of the matter is, after a game, it's the best way to get quotes in a quick manner and get back and write your story.
I went to the San Francisco 49ers. I covered the 49ers for the San Francisco Examiner. And I was called in one day to the PR guy's office, and he said, "We've had some reports that you've been looking in the locker room." And I said, "Looking?" I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for the numbers of who I'm supposed to interview." And that's when I realized I need to comport myself differently because I am female. So to this day, I walk in a locker room like this with a notebook in my hand, even if I have a camera.
For a woman broadcasting, let's say, football or men's basketball, you've got an issue in the minds of a lot of viewers saying that person never played the sport. You've got to be really good. So in a sense, you almost have to be better than your male counterparts.
I mean, you will find a lot of guys, particularly on Twitter, where they can hide behind, their fake Twitter name. They say, "I don't want to hear women calling the game." Like some people just go crazy at the sound of a female voice announcing what's happening in a football game, which, to me it's the same. Are you telling me what's happening? Are you informing me? Or are you, adding to the broadcast? That's all that matters.
I think what you want to hear is just expertise.
It wasn't an easy road. I went newspapers and I got a lot of good breaks, but I worked really hard too. But it wasn't until I got to the nationally known organizations that I felt like I belonged.
I mean, one thing women have to overcome is not being immersed in sports from the time they were kids. It's not the bonding experience for women that it is for men. That's the language that we speak to each other is in sports terms. Expectations that, okay, if I talk about, the 1979 Super Bowl, you're going to know what I'm talking about. In this case, I'll say men are judged singularly, women are judged collectively. So therefore, if a woman makes a mistake, all women are liable to make that mistake. It can't just be her error. It's a reflection of her gender. It's not fair, but that's the way people see it.
It's those kinds of things, because you stand out so much as a woman, and that you just are noticed, and so people are going to start, people really pay attention to every little detail of that.
The sports fan is not the most evolved species, let's put it that way. So, you're having to overcome a lot of backwards thinking, stuck in the dark ages.
Absolutely, looks matter. This is television. It's all about ratings.
Sports are driven by bringing men to the TV set. Men are very visual and simplistic, so I think that's going to be a part of it.
Networks believe that why not have a pretty face giving you that information?
But you got to be smart, and I don't think that they will hire someone just for looks.
It's the blonde barrel curl 20-something. And there's probably some very qualified women in that role who fit that description, but the problem is there's such a flood of it that I feel like it's devaluing the position of the sideline reporter. And I was a sideline reporter. Like, I get it. I have great qualified friends who are terrific sideline reporters. But I feel as if the people who hire are starting to look only for looks, and that is a problem in terms of where women are going in sports journalism.
I'd like to see if there's some way to encourage women to just, stay with it. So because when you stay with it, then there's not only the longevity for for being around a long time, but you have the chance to then advance into some of the being one of that top play-by-play people on Monday Night Football, or being a top columnist at, a big newspaper.
I think it was good that during the Ray Rice situation, you had a variety of female voices that were right at our disposal. Now what I would like to see is, once this issue hopefully dies down, that they're not just brought on to talk about female-related issues, so to speak, that their opinions will be valid, just picking games for NFL Sundays, or, analyzing trades in the NBA. Their input could and should be seen just as frequently there as it has been on this issue, which is of particular importance to females.
I realized early on that if I wanted to do something besides being a reporter, if I wanted to be a managing editor or a sports editor or somebody who made the decisions, that was going to be really difficult. And it's still really difficult if you're female. We don't have many. We need more.